Welcome back to the Taco Trip. After exploring Mexico City properly in the previous episodes, I'm now taking you on a road trip through Chiapas, which is the southernmost state in Mexico and home to a number of hidden gems.
We just arrived in Kumi town, which will be our base to explore the first part of Chiapas. This is our hotel. How's the room, Mike?
Good. Not as good as these beans, though.
Oh God. It was a little adventure to get here, but we finally made it to the cenote Chucumaltic, a tiny cenote which is 200 meters wide and apparently about 60 meters deep. Crystal clear waters and a perfect diving spot because apparently in the cenote you can find petrified trees and even a statue. Let's check it out.
A cenote is a natural pit or sinkhole resulting from the collapse of limestone bedrock that exposes groundwater underneath. Especially in Mexico, cenotes were sometimes used by the ancient Maya for sacrificial offerings.
Good morning! We got up early. It's about 7 a.m. now in order to see the Cascadas Yaxchilan, which is a set of 5 waterfalls. And if you come that early, you have the chance to have the whole site to yourself. In order to see the biggest one of those, with about 120 meters, you need to hike up the stairs for about 1 kilometer. But then you will be rewarded by this. Way to the farthest east of Chiapas, we now stopped at the lake regions. These are called the Lagos de Montebello, and we are now at the viewpoint of the Cinco Lagos, the 5 lakes, and we're surrounded by lakes. It's a beautiful, beautiful viewpoint. After about 3 hours of driving from Comitan, we arrived. Where exactly are we?
We are in Las Nubes, which is an eco-lodge pretty close to the Guatemalan border. It's surrounded by nature, by jungle, and by these beautiful, beautiful waterfalls.
And you can already hear those waterfalls in the back, so I would say let's check them out.
Las Nubes is located inside the Lacandan jungle, a rainforest which stretches from Chiapas into Guatemala and into the southern part of the Yucatan Peninsula. It is the largest montane rainforest in North America and one of the last ones left large enough to support jaguars.
Apparently there's more to see than just the waterfalls and the river, so we're off on a little exploration to find the Vista Hermosa, the beautiful view. How's that, Mike?
We were skeptical because there was this amazing vista in the back of the menu where the desserts were supposed to be. And there's no way this viewpoint is actually this close to the lodge, but here it is.
After about 4 hours driving from Las Nubes, we made it to Bonampak, the first Mayan ruins we will see on this trip.
Bonampak is well known for its murals. In addition to being among the best preserved Maya murals, they are noteworthy for debunking early assumptions that the Maya were a peaceful culture of mystics, as the murals clearly depict war and human sacrifice.
Buenos dias from Frontera Corozal. We're about to embark on a little boat journey to see the ruins of Yaxchilan. We're now in the middle of the jungle, inside the ancient Maya city of Yaxchilan, which was once the most powerful Maya state along the Usumacinta River.
Yaxchilan was a large center important throughout the Classic era and the dominant power of the Usumacinta River area. It dominated such smaller sites as Bonampak and had a long rivalry with Piedras Negras and at least for a time with Tikal. It was also a rival of Palenque, with which Yaxchilan warred in 654. The site contains impressive ruins with palaces and temples, bordering a large plaza upon a terrace above the Usumacinta River.
The next place we're checking out is the area around Palenque, which is actually one of the main tourist centers here in Chiapas. Our first stop here is the Misolha waterfall. That waterfall reminds me a lot of the Seljalandsfoss in Iceland, because this is a waterfall where you can actually go behind the waterfall. That's pretty epic. We made it to the ruins of Palenque, and these ruins are actually the reason why Palenque is so famous for tourism. The Mayan city-state of Palenque used to be one of the most important city-states in all of Mesoamerica. It was basically the capital of Chiapas and the region of Tabasco. Wow, this site is truly massive. It's by far the biggest Maya city we've seen on this trip, and it's very diverse because you have pyramids and temples, little tower over here, and then like all the other buildings we've seen also at the other side. Definitely a must visit here in Palenque. The next really popular spot near Palenque, the south of Palenque, about like 1.5–2 hours drive south of Palenque, is Agua Azul, which is also a set of waterfalls where you can bathe in. Agua Azul is definitely one of the more popular spots in Chiapas, so you should get up early to be here before everyone else. This is also a good spot to try a Coco Loco, which is a coconut filled with coconut water, of course, vodka and lemon. That's actually quite good.
We continued to the town of Ocosingo, where we stayed at another very special place, a hacienda turned hotel.
For dinner tonight we chose to come to a taqueria on the side of the road. That's the way to do it in Mexico.
How was it? Pastor's always good, all the time, no matter where we are.
That is the pastor over here. It's 7 a.m. in Ocosingo, and we're having breakfast the traditional Mexican way. We see over there, we see street vendors selling tamales and tacos and stuff. So let's see what they got for us. Alright, we got the tamales here. And we got, that's basically milk rice.
With cinnamon.
With cinnamon.
Tamales!
That
sauce is too spicy for 7:30.
The third Maya city we're visiting on this trip is the city-state of Tonina, which was a very aggressive state, using mostly warfare to develop its kingdom. Tonina was one of the longest lasting Maya city-states, and it has one of the largest pyramids in all of Mexico. Now that we made it to the top of the big pyramid here in Tonina, this is the perfect spot to ask Brandon about some photography tips, because as some of you may know, his channel is focusing mainly on photography, on a behind-the-scenes look of what a photographer's life is like, right?
Yeah, so I guess let's give you guys like 3 quick tips on how you can take travel photography, even if you're somewhere like here at these ruins in Mexico where you're not allowed to be in at sunrise or sunset and you're not allowed to use a tripod. So simple tips that absolutely anybody can use. Tip number 1, even if you can't come here at sunrise or sunset, come early in the morning, because if you come to a place like Tonina here at sunrise, you'll have it all to yourself and the light will still be better. The second tip, don't use a super wide angle lens like this. Try to put a telephoto lens on, a longer lens, because it'll compress the landscape and it'll make everything look bigger and way more impressive. And the third tip is, any good travel photo has a person in it. But especially at ruins, a person in the photo is so important because it gives scale to the pyramids. It shows how big everything is. So add a person to your photo.
Mayans played some kind of ball sport. We don't exactly know the rules, but they played in these pits, and you can see there's some kind of serpent heads on the walls. sometimes those have holes in them. They think that they would roll the ball up and they'd hit it with their hips. Like that, and the holes were the hoops or something like that. And actually it's a sport still played in Mexico in some places. But the Mayans did play sports, and this is one of the fields.
We now made it to San Cristobal de Las Casas, which is a cute little town in the region of Chiapas, and a pueblo mágico, right?
Magic town. Mexico, in all the states, is covered with small little towns, usually with a colonial church, a nice city square, gardens, statues, and they're called pueblo mágicos.
It's finally time to try some food from the Chiapas cuisine. I got a whole pork leg, because this is what they recommended me to get, which is typical from Chiapas. Our last stop on this trip is the canyon of Sumidero, which is the second most popular site in all of Chiapas. It is north of Tuxtla Gutierrez and stretches for about 13 kilometers. So there are two ways you can do it. You can visit the miradores to see it from above, and you can do a boat ride. We will do both today, starting with the first mirador here, Mirador Seba. We are slowly making our way up viewpoint by viewpoint. There are about 5 of them, and we're now at one of the most popular. It's called El Robla, so let's see if it can hold up to the hype. We finally made it to the last and for me most impressive viewpoint of the Sumidero Canyon. The Sumidero Canyon was formed by cracks in the Earth's crust along with erosion by the Grijalva River, which still flows through it. So it's very similar to the Grand Canyon, and it also dates back to the same time the Grand Canyon was created. So we've arrived at Chiapa de Corzo, which is apparently also a pueblo mágico, and the place where we are going to embark on a boat to see the canyon from the water. We're now on a boat heading into the canyon, and because we're rich gringos, we got the whole boat for ourselves. For about 3,000 pesos.
Which I think is a good deal, because it was 200 pesos before. It's like 10 euros. There would have been 24 people. Now we have all of this glory to sit back, drink some cervezas, get some GoPro shots, and just be the best amigos ever.
Trip through the Sumidero Canyon, I finish up this series. The taco trip with this crew is ending now, sadly. So make sure to subscribe to all of them in the description down below, and we see each other in the next episode next week. Woohoo! Ciao! Yeah!